Rogers?
Well, I can't tell much of anything about him. Papa never would talk about his folks much, but I do know that he was a very religious man and belonged to the Methodist Church.
And where did he live?
Well, they lived up in the Sharp County, up in there, around there, and they lived close to Highland.
Highland.
They were living at Highland, and Highland was a little Union church at that time, a Methodist and Baptist church.
That's where Grandpa and Grandma Rogers met.
Well, no, they didn't meet there.
Okay.
They went to church there,
Okay.
and Grandpa, Papa's father, was superintendent of the Sunday school. And so when they'd have a revival, well, the Baptists would have their revival, and at the end of the revival, the Methodist preacher would come, and they'd call up the members that wanted to join church.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the ones that wanted to join the Methodist church would stand for the Methodist preacher, and the ones that wanted to join the Baptist church would stand for the Baptist preacher. So Papa and Mama joined the church at the same time. I don't know whether it was a Methodist revival or a Baptist that was going on, but they both was converted and joined church at the same time. He joined the Methodist church, and she joined the Baptist church. But they were just young folks then. I think she was about 14.
Well, now, your grandfather, is he buried there at Highland?
Yeah, he's buried there in Highland Cemetery.
But your grandmother, you don't know,
Well, she was, when the family, all the families left and went to Oklahoma, except Papa and one sister. She lived at Aunt Molly Osborne.
And
they lived at Portia.
Portia, uh-huh.
And until I think after Uncle Henry died, some of the children moved over in Walnut Ridge, and she went over there. I think that's where she died.
There's some Osmonds, though, that live around there now.
Well, I checked on some of them, and they said that they thought they were a different set.
Okay.
And Grandma was buried out in Oklahoma. They didn't bring her body back.
Mm-hmm. She probably died out there, right?
Yeah, and there's all the children out there, and they just buried her there. And Aunt Molly, I think, I don't know, no, she wasn't dead, I don't guess, when Grandma died. And but she's getting awfully old when she did die, and had got blind, too. And she was staying with one of the sons out there. And Papa never would talk much about his folks. Only Grandma Rogers was a Howard before she married. Okay. That's all I know about that. I don't know anything about her folks or nothing.
Well, see that, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was a Howard, Howard. Howard. And I've got an obituary over there in my Bible now. I cut out of the paper of the Howard, and he had his family and all. They had names that corresponded with some of the old Papa's folks and all. And I just wondered. I kept the obituary. I think it might be some of her relatives.
Okay. Now, where could we find Grandpa's grave if we was looking for it there in Highland?
Well, he was in the first row but they put a fence up there now.
Is that a church there, Mother?
Yes, there's a church there, but the Pentecost, I think, is having their meeting there now. And the Baptist has got a nice church, and the Methodist has too. And so they sold the building to the Pentecost.
And is it called the Highland Cemetery?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I reckon.
Well,
I never heard it called nothing else.
I don't know where it's at.
And but Mama, she was a turn to always be talking about. She kind of like keep up with her family tree, kind of like you. She knew, and she's one of her and Granny together. Mama told me most of it about my great one of my great-great-grandfathers was a full-blooded Indian, a Methodist preacher. And one of them was, one of my great-great-grandfathers was a Scott-Irish.
Okay. Who was he? Do you
He
know?
was great-great-grandpa Darling.
Okay.
My granny, one we call Granny, her grandfather.
The
That'd be my
Darling.
great-great-grandfather. And he was a Cumberland Presbyterian.
Well,
And then, well, let's see. Now then there's another. Now, yeah, my great-great-grandfather that was a Scott-Irish, his wife come from England. Her folks did.
and do you know what their names were?
No, I don't know what their names was. Only I don't even know what her first name was. His name was Paul. When I named Paul, my Paul, Mom was talking, said Paul running the family, and she said old great-great-grandfather, old great-grandfather, it was her great, was named Paul.
Well,
I remembered that then.
well, now see,
And-
that's right.
So, but Mom always talked about Papa's folks, didn't try to keep up with their family. And I told her about some people from Black Oak down here. They came here at Marmaduke and put in a little restaurant, or bought out a restaurant. And she looked so much like Ivora, my sister Ivora. So one night, she came and sat down at the table with some of us women, and I asked her what was her name before she married. She said it was Rogers. And so I told Mama about it, and she said when they came to, the Rogerses came to Arkansas, they came from Tennessee. There was 3 other brothers, and one of them did settle at Black Oak.
And do you know what their names were?
No, I don't know what his name, but the ones that moved on up to in Sharp County, well, I think, well, I don't reckon that was my I guess that was my great-grandfather, and he had a brother by the name of Richard. That's all I know about them. But Uncle Richard wasn't so religious, I don't think, his grandpa.
Maybe that's the reason he didn't talk about them very much.
Oh, it might have been.
Oh, now, did you tell us exactly where that grave is located?
Well, Papa never did tell me and her Mama. Only they just said it was Tyrone. And so Esther, my sister-in-law, she went with them up there the time God took them to see the graves. And her and Code went with them. And she said that it was in about the first row, and said people, you couldn't go in the cemetery early without walking over, and said they had a path made right over his grave.
There's no marker there.
Papa had put some rock at the head. I don't know, there's a big family, I don't know why they never did put a marker.
Well, they probably just didn't have the money.
Well, they talked like they'd write back to Papa like they was making pretty good money.
Oh, well, people do that sometimes.
Well, and I don't know anything about them. They might have been the kind to do that, too.
Well,
I'm not getting what you're saying.
yeah, you probably are. I think it picks up pretty good. Can you think of it? Tell me a little bit about your mother there in Ravenland Springs. Tell me something about Grandma Rogers.
Grandma Rogers? Well, she was, I don't reckon, any more important than anybody else.
Well, she was.
Only she taught the adult Bible class, women's adult Bible class there in the Baptist church for 25 consecutive years. And while she was doing that, Papa was superintendent at the Methodist church. So we got the benefit of both churches.
Yeah.
And so when we first moved there, she sewed And back then, they'd make their hats. They could order frames and get mill and wire. And she could make some pretty hats for the style I was wearing at that time. And she put in her little office down in town. And that old sewing machine I've got sitting out there.
On the front porch.
She made dresses and hats and bought that machine.
Well, now I've got a sewing machine that
That's
was.
my old machine.
Oh, I was thinking that it. Okay, I was thinking it was Grandma Rogers.
Well, it's mine.
Okay.
And this one out here was hers. And Burley and Ivor, they went to Mama's one time and started cleaning house. And Mama got to where she didn't do too much sewing. And so I don't know, they just thought, well, she didn't need the sewing machine anyway. And they just picked it up and took it to the smokehouse, put it right under a leak, and it caused the veneering on it to peel off and look awful bad, you know.
Yeah.
And I've been aiming to take it all apart and try to get me some plate glass and make me a table out of wrought iron.
Now that old sewing machine of yours still works.
Well, this one out here worked, only I couldn't get in needles for it. It's got one needle, and it's crooked, and of course it won't sew. But it's been sitting out there on the porch, so I know it's full of dust. It'd have to be
Yeah,
clean.
it has to be clean, but it could be clean.
Yeah, and it could be cleaned, and if one could get needles.
I don't know. You just can't use regular needles?
No, they're too short. Them needles was long, you know.
No, I didn't. I guess there's just the one needle in that one that's all that was in there.
Yeah. And I had the needles that come in a little wooden box.
Yeah, I've got one of those little boxes.
And Dean's got one. I noticed she's got one stuck up down that home.
I don't
know, and I thought maybe that's one of mine.
I don't know where I got mine. I think that I got it out of the Thomas bunch of stuff. You know.
Well, I think Dean. And, you know, Dean is one of them. If she sees anything she wants, she don't care to ask for it.
Well, you just assume for her to have it as anybody else.
Well, yes.
You know, you like for people to have things that they want because
Yeah.
they'll take care of them.
She keeps old things. She's got you remember that old egg beater I used to have? And I had, the wire had played out a time or two, and I had rewired it. And she's got that. And she said she's using it now.
She got that fixed. Well, Mother, I'm going to go.
No, it didn't need fixing. She just used like I use it.
Oh.
It's still good. The wire I put in last time was, well, I think it's stovepipe wiring.
Oh. Probably lasts a while.
Yeah.
Right?
And when you got it, the wire was fine, real fine. And, well, let's stop it.